Hello everyone, this is Basim Fauzi from PowerBIMaster.com. In this video, we will compare between Excel and Power BI. Stay tuned. Alright, so just before we start our comparison, let's set together the factors we would use for that comparison. So first of all, we will compare based on the cross-filtering functionality, that is the ability to use one visual or the bars and the columns in one visual to filter the other visual. Then we'll compare based on the processing speed, which is the ability to process big data. Then we will move to mobile view friendliness, and next we would compare based on the connectivity or the number of data sources each application could connect to. After that, we will move to data security. Then we'll compare based on visuals or the diversity of the visuals available in each application and the number of visuals available in each application. After that, we will compare based on the automatic update feature and the email alerts feature, and both of these features are only available in Power BI. So my comparison here might be a little bit biased. Finally, just a word of caution here. This is not a comprehensive list of all the Power BI features. Alright, so let's just put that in mind and get started. So the first factor of comparison would be the cross-filtering feature. So if we open an Excel report, if we click any of the bars on this bar chart, for example, it wouldn't affect any of the other visuals on that same report. But if we open a Power BI report, and if I select this bar, for example, the other graphs would be either highlighted, as in this graph, or even filtered, as in these two graphs, to show only data relevant to the bar I have selected. So if I select a different bar, the numbers here would change to reflect only data related to the bar I have selected, and also the highlighted section or the highlighted part on this visual over here would change to reflect only data relevant or data related to the bar I have selected. And of course we can choose between the filtering effect or the highlight effect. Going back to the PowerPoint presentation, so in this round Power BI wins and we get 1 point for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Next, we are going to compare based on the processing speed. So anyone who may have ever used a Power BI workbook that is over 500 megabytes could easily realize this fact. Excel becomes very slow in data processing and even opening the workbooks whenever the size of the workbook exceeds 500 megabytes. While Power BI was originally designed with big data in mind. So if we make a quick comparison across the different Power BI licensing options, we will find out the following. So over here we have the 4 licensing options available currently for Power BI, and even with the basic or free version of Power BI, we are allowed to create reports with a dataset up to 1 gigabyte. Bear in mind that this 1 gigabyte is the size of the compressed data. So the size of the actual data could be about 10 gigabytes, and this is with the free tier. If you're willing to pay a little bit extra, you can even process much larger datasets. Like for example, with Power BI Premium per user, that costs like $20 per month, you can have a dataset size up to 100 gigabytes, again, of compressed data that's equivalent to 1 terabyte. Going back to the PowerPoint presentation, in this round Power BI wins and gets another point. So the score now is 2 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Next, we are going to compare based on mobile view friendliness. For that, I'm going to switch to my mobile phone to show you how an Excel report would look like on mobile versus Power BI. So first we have this Excel file opened on the mobile phone, and as you can see, it's not really optimized for mobile phone view. So whenever I need to go from one side of the report to the other, I have to zoom out, then go to the other side, then I have to zoom in. And this is not really ideal from a user experience perspective. Now, if I go to my Power BI mobile application and open a report on it, we can easily notice the difference. So this report is optimized for mobile phone view, and I can easily switch between the different graphs and different visuals I have on this report, and I still have the same feature I mentioned earlier, that's the cross filtering or cross highlight functionality. So as I just clicked on this graph, it has filtered that other graph for me and all the other graphs that are related to the graph I have selected. Now going back to the PowerPoint presentation. Again, Power BI wins this round on mobile view friendliness and gets another point. Now it is 3 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Next, we are going to compare based on connectivity. For that, I would go back to Excel. Now if I go to the Data tab and try to connect to an external data source, you would see that I have only limited options that I can choose from. While if I open a Power BI report and try to connect that report with an external data source or any data source, well, this is just the short list of the most used data sources within Power BI, but if I click on more, I could choose from any of the data sources listed on this big list. Now going back to the PowerPoint presentation, so Excel allows me to connect to about 40 different data sources, while Power BI allows me to connect to 120 plus data sources, and the number is increasing. So on this round, Power BI wins, and we have another point for Power BI to make the score 4 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Next, we are going to compare based on data security. So going back to the Excel file, I can already access all the data on this report with all its details, and if I give a copy of this report to any other person on this planet, he would be able to access the same data. That's a very big problem from a data security perspective. Now if we move to Power BI, well, Power BI is mainly used for sharing reports and dashboards online, and in this case I can easily define whom has access to each report or dashboard, or even an entire workspace, which works as a kind of a folder for reports and dashboards. So I can define whom has access to each report and dashboard, and if I share a report with someone, that doesn't necessarily mean that he has access to the underlying dataset. So I could make him only see the report without seeing the underlying dataset. Additionally, I do not necessarily need to share the entire content of the report I create with everyone in the organization. Going back to the PowerPoint presentation, so it's very clear whom wins this round. It's certainly Power BI, and that adds another point for Power BI to make its score 5, while Excel's score is still 0. Next, we are going to compare based on the visuals available in each application. So going to Excel, if we go to the Insert tab, we can choose from any of the visuals available over here. If you have ever used Excel before, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with all these visuals over here. Now go into Power BI. In addition to all the great visuals available in Excel, which are available right over here, Power BI allows you to import visuals from Microsoft Visuals Marketplace, which has over 330 different visuals. So you can always be sure that no matter what idea you would like to visualize, you would always find the right visual for it on Microsoft Visual Store, and that's assuming that regular visuals like the visuals we already have in Excel doesn't satisfy your needs. And here you get all the visuals available on Microsoft Visual Store, and if you're worried about paying, almost all of them, like 98% of them, are available free of charge. Now, going back to the PowerPoint presentation, clearly Power BI wins this round and gets another point to make the score 6 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Next, we are going to compare based on the availability of the automatic update feature. Now, if we move to the Excel report I showed you earlier, well, to update an Excel report, we will have to click each single chart at a time, then change the range of cells it's reading from. And that is very time consuming, especially considering that you need to do that process for each single chart at a time. And then of course you need to save that report and send the latest version of that report to all the concerned parties. While with Power BI, you can simply download and install the data gateway, which works as a bridge between on-premises data and Power BI Online, so that you can always get your Power BI report automated at pre-specified intervals. That could be every single minute if you like that. And you don't need to share the latest version with your colleagues, as they get automatic access to the latest version of the reports you publish on the workspace you share with them. And you can even set up Power BI to send them notifications whenever you publish automatically, of course, the latest version of that report you shared with them. Now, going back to the PowerPoint presentation, we can safely give Power BI the point for this round, and that make the score a total of 7 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. Finally, we are going to compare based on email alerts availability. So if we move back to Excel, we all have memories of certain KPIs which we monitor across the month or even across the day, and we want to make sure that these KPIs do not go over or below a certain number. As an example, the sales target for the marketing team could serve as an excellent example. So across the entire month, the marketing team in many companies are worried about whether they have achieved their sales target or not, and they keep checking and checking, maybe 1 or 2 times each day, and they spend precious time about worrying instead of actually working. So if you have your report built within Excel, the only way to figure out whether you have achieved your target or not is to update your report manually, then figure out whether the numbers you got match with the numbers you target or not. While with Power BI, we can easily get all the stakeholders notified whenever a certain number goes above or below the target we specify. So for example, the sales amount here is 78 millions. So I could set Power BI to send me an alert and also send an alert to all the concerned parties if the actual sales go above the specified target, which is, for example, in this case, 80 millions. So if this number here goes above 80 millions, I'll get a notification on my mobile phone, and also I will get an email telling me that this alert has been triggered. Additionally, all the stakeholders which I specify will get the same alert. Now, for one last time, let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So obviously Power BI wins this last round, which makes the total score 8 for Power BI and 0 for Excel. What about you? What do you think? Which is better, Power BI or Excel? And why that? Tell me in the comments. I'll be waiting for your feedback. And as always, be the data master. Bye for now.